support and assistance of Claire Mackay from Northern Area Community Network. Claire's on the screen there this morning as well. We were able to think of a few other ideas to do. So this is one of them, which is cookery demonstrations by Judith Calvin. And so we're looking forward to those. And so just to say, this project is supported by the European Union's Peace Board programme, managed by a special EU programme body, SEUPB, administered by the Northern Area Community Network, who Claire works for, working in partnership with Mid and East Antrim Borough Council Peace Board Building Positive Relations Working Group. And so also special thanks to, as I said there, Claire Mackay for helping get everything set up and helping us through the funding programme, and also thanks to Joanne Brown Kerr and Bamley and West for all their help and assistance in hosting this morning's session on Zoom. And thanks to Judith Calvin, who'll be facilitating the session and giving her expert advice on how to cook all these different dishes. My understanding is that going forward, there's going to be a different, sorry, somebody in the phone in our house here, there's going to be a different code or access code each week, each session. So we'll get that emailed out to you. So as long as I've got your email address, I think I've got everybody now, or if I haven't got yours directly, somebody else sends it on to you. So I'll just at this point, I'll hand back to Joanne, and she's going to then, I think, hand over to Judith. So thanks, and great to see everybody.
Folks, just before I hand over to Judith, we are doing a recording of the session, so that, because I know there's quite a few that couldn't join us this morning and would like to look up the session later, or the like of myself who's not cooking along, and maybe some of you as well who maybe want to look up the session later on whenever you're maybe going to be making the things. So if anybody has any objections to that, let me know. But what I'm trying to do, this is the first time I've done this, but what I'm trying to do is make sure that it's just Judith, in the video. I'm trying to make sure that it's not the rest of you, round the side. But I'm just not, hopefully I'll be able to do that okay. But give me a wee shout if you have any objections now, in case or something.
That's all right, Sharon. Joanne's coming through clear now.
That's okay. I'll tell her that's okay. And
no,
just, before I get muted here, could I just say
we're through now, Sharon.
Can I hear you now?
Hello. Hello.
Sharon's on the phone to them, trying to get them sorted out.
Alan's coming through now. You're all right.
Can Alan hear us?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
right. Oh, bye.
You're better.
Can I just, sorry, before I mute it as well, can I just say, well, hopefully that's the technicalities sorted out. And it's great to see a few other new people engaging with Hillstown Rural Community Group this morning that maybe hasn't been involved with us before. And hopefully we can keep these things going forward. And also as well, say that it's great, as always, working in partnership with Grange Cross Community Association. And Stuart's on the camera here this morning. So thanks again to everybody. And sorry, back again to you, Joanne.
Okay, folks, without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Judith. Thank you very much, Judith.
Hello there, everybody. It was lovely to meet you all. I'm so glad there's so many here. My name is Judith Calvin, and I'm a dietitian. My little
She's muted herself.
Sorry, folks.
Okay?
Just give me a wee second.
Judith,
yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, could you not hear me before? Oh, sorry. Yeah, my name's Judith Calvin, and I am a dietitian, and it's lovely to meet you all, and I'm so glad that everybody's turned out to this cookery demonstration. As I said, I'm a dietitian. I've got 20 years experience, and about 8 or 9 of those years I worked in community, and I did lots of community groups just like this. And I'm also a very keen cook, so I love to cook nutritious, well, any kind of food, but I love to cook home cooked, good, wholesome food. So yeah, I was saying there that my little boy is going to be helping us out today, because of course he's off school today, but he loves to cook and he loves to help out. And I think this is really what I'm trying to promote as a dietitian, really, is family nutrition, family health, get your children involved, get everybody involved in cooking. So today we're going to be doing a roasted butternut squash soup and homemade wheaten bread. So it should take about maybe an hour, but maybe slightly over an hour. So I think to start with, we really need to get the wheaten bread in the oven because that's going to take about 45 minutes, 50 minutes to cook. And the oven, and it takes mine slightly longer because I've got my jets out minutes, so I can really heat my oven up to a really high temperature. So it might take mine slightly more. So mine might not be out of the oven before we finish, but I've got one made here to show you. So we'll get going with that. So I weigh my wheaten bread. The recipe, I think I put it in ounces and grams, but I'm going to weigh mine out in ounces because this is my mum's recipe and this is how she told me. So, right, Alexandra, do you want to do some of it?
I'll do that bit.
You do that bit.
Yay!
So it's 8 ounces of wholemeal flour. Right, you measure out to number 8.
Okay,
Number 8, this one.
okay.
All right. Keep going. Whoa. Perfect. That's it. Good.
Number 8, I'm coming on.
I'm using Neil's, but you could use any wholemeal flour. I'm using the coarse one because the recipe asks for the coarse one. But if you don't like your wheaten bread really wheateny, you could use a medium coarse wholemeal flour instead. So it's 8 ounces of wholemeal flour, 4 ounces of soda bread flour, so I just brought the wrong one out there, and 4 ounces of oats. So bear with me, I'm just going to get the other. Right, we need to use a spoon for this one.
Okay.
You get a spoon. Yes, I'll do. Now, bring it up to number 12.
Well,
Bring it up to number 12.
that'll be 2, 2, 1.
That's it. Keep going. One more. One more. Perfect. That'll do. And then 4 ounces of oats. So I'm just using Tesco's, Tesco oats here. You can use any oats. And you bring it up to number, till it goes to 1.
Okay, 1.
Right, that's us. Okay, you give it a mix.
Yeah. Oh, yes, yay!
Okay, so it's 1 egg, and I put the wet ingredients and everything in to dry, and then I just give it a good mix. 1 egg. Put it in there.
Mix.
No, not yet, not yet.
Sugar?
And then it's about 2 tablespoons of sugar.
Yay!
Right, okay, just one level, one of that. Not a bit. Right, that one. Put that in. That's it. Put it in there. And
mix.
no. And then we're going to put some oils, 2 tablespoons of oil. And I just do a bit of a feel because I kind of know now. And bicarbonate of soda. I do 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda or baking powder or whatever you have. I've run out of bicarbonate of soda, so I'm going to use some baking powder today. But if you use bicarbonate of soda, it makes a darker loaf. And if you use baking powder, it makes a lighter loaf. But the taste is the same and it works out just exactly the same.
And do not, but
Right, teaspoon.
Get it. Open your.
Yeah. Let's see. That one we did done.
Out back from the end.
Are we alright? Just use the rest of that. There we go. Right. And then just put the buttermilk in.
I'll be it.
It's about 3/4 of a pint of buttermilk. And if you don't have any buttermilk, you can use yogurt. So I've actually only got about half a pint of buttermilk there. So I'm going to use some yogurt as well.
I'll do that. I'll do it.
Put that in. Is it? You know, simple. A wee one. Just a wee one.
What's next?
And then we put a wee bit of water in. Now, mix.
This being good.
So I'm using a 2-pound loaf tin here, and I just put some greaseproof paper in it, so that it's easy to take out the tin. I just find it easier to put the greaseproof paper in rather than grease it. Let me do it. So wheaten bread is so good for you. It's full of fibre and nutrients, B vitamins, zinc, magnesium, and also because of the buttermilk in it, it's a really good source of calcium as well. So it's just a really nutritious food and delicious. So it's one of the things that Northern Ireland has produced that's so good for us. So, and it's so easy to make, as you can see here. It's literally just put all the ingredients in together, give it a good mix, and then put it in the oven. So I don't know if you can see that. I mean, it's really easy. It's quite a wet mixture, and that's absolutely fine. And then you just put it into the tin.
Let me do it. Let me do that.
Right, you put it into the tin. I'll hold it. Yeah. Next to the bottom side. I'll let you do. Let me get it in, and then I'll let you do the last wee bit.
No. That's my turn.
Wait a minute.
That's my turn.
Right, put the rest of it in. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask questions at any time. Just unmute your button and ask the question, and if you have anything to ask about nutrition or health or food or anything, feel free to ask. Put this into the oven now. So I put it into an oven 180 degrees or gas mark 4 for about 45 or 50 minutes, and just leave it there. Don't touch it. and it'll rise up beautifully. And around about the 45-minute mark, I usually open the oven, put a skewer in, and see how it's doing. It might need an extra 5 minutes or so after that. Okay, so it's important now we get on and make the butternut squash soup. So my little boy has peeled this for me. He was doing that just as we were all getting ready. And so you peel it just with a peeler like this. This is the butternut squash, and you just literally peel it and take the skin off. And it's a really simple way, much simpler than cutting it off. Take this out of the way. Hold on a minute, Alexander.
Yeah, no.
Big one, big one. Okay, so we're going to cut this into chunks, and because the wheaten bread's in the oven, I'm going to put this under the grill to cook, and it'll make it lovely charred and crispy, and roast it. And actually, if you put it under the grill, it's a little bit quicker as well. The roasting of it just gives it a really lovely sweet flavour in the soup.
My turn.
And this is what the butternut squash looks on the inside. So you have the seeds at the bottom part. You just scoop out the seeds. Watch. Right, okay. The seeds actually are lovely if you were to dry them out and roast them. They make lovely, like a nutty kind of seed, and which is full of essential fatty acids, which is really good for your brain and your nervous system and your immune system. So I'm just put this up into strips. Show you now in a little sec once I have it done. I don't know if there's anybody doing this with me, is there?
Everybody's very quiet, Judith. I think most are maybe watching just to do it later on.
Yeah, that's okay.
I just have a wee question here from Jeanette. Can you use frozen butternut squash instead?
You could. Yeah, you could use frozen butternut squash. Absolutely. It would work just as well. I don't know even if you can get a pre-roasted one. A frozen pre-roasted, that would be really good because that would skip out this whole process and make it a bit quicker. You could use any frozen vegetables. Frozen vegetables are actually brilliant. They're nearly better than fresh because whenever they're picked fresh, and then they're literally frozen straight away, or they're blanched. Quite often they blanch the vegetables just to remove any dirt and any germs that might be on them, and then they freeze them straight away, so all the nutrients are locked in the frozen process. Fresh ingredients, fresh fruit and vegetables can start to lose their nutritional value after a while once they've been stored. Especially vitamin C, especially the water-soluble vitamins such as vitamin C and the B vitamins. They start to leave as the vegetables sort of lose their moisture when stored. So if you're going to buy fresh vegetables, it's really important to buy them as fresh as possible and try not to store them for too long.
Okay, thank you. I have another question here about if you don't have soda bread flour, what is the amount of bicarb or baking soda you need to add to the plain flour?
So you just use self-freezing flour instead of soda bread flour, and then just use baking powder. So if you're using, it's best to use bicarbonate of soda if you're using soda bread flour, and baking powder if you're using self-freezing flour. because the bicarbonate, and you could use, the reason bicarbonate of soda is so good is because the bicarbonate of soda reacts with the acidity of the buttermilk, and that's what creates a raising agent. But yeah, self-raising, I've used self-raising flour before, absolutely fine. And you can just use baking powder with that. Works just as well.
Okay. Folks, ask away if you've any questions. Just unmute yourself, or if you want to send me a wee note. You see where it says chat? You'll see a wee thing that says chat on your screen somewhere. Just you press on that if you want to ask a wee question through that, or unmute yourself and chat away.
Yeah. How you getting on there, Alexander?
I'm so ready. I don't know what to do now.
Need to cut that one off.
Huh?
Hi. Hold on. Mommy, I'll do it, darling.
How do you?
Right, okay. Mommy, help you then. Do it together.
You have a great helper there, Judith.
What's that?
You have a great helper there.
A great helper. He loves doing it. Watch your hands. Let me push it. There. That's it. It's quite hard to cut. Let me take this one down. Hold on, now let me do it, darling. Just a wee bit quicker.
Judith, if we were using frozen butternut squash, would we just throw it all in, just frozen, and stick it in under the grill
Yeah.
or in the oven?
It would need a really, the grill would be better with it because it's really hot then.
Okay.
And then what's happening is the water is evaporating out quickly. So you need a really hot oven or under the grill if you're going to use the frozen.
Okay.
Now, we're just going to put some salt and pepper.
I'll get that.
Bear with me, I'm just getting the chili flakes. So this is optional. You don't have to use chili flakes, but I think it gives a nice heat to it. Okay, you do it. And I just put the salt and pepper. I use sea salt and black pepper, ground brown black pepper and ground sea salt on it. And just a nice sprinkle all over the top.
We've just lost your video there, Judith.
Sorry, my phone went there. My phone went. Somebody was trying to ring me. Right, that'll do.
That's probably Daddy saying, hey.
Yeah, that's probably that. Right. Put that on. On here. Man.
Say, Mom, just.
Okay. Actually, that'll do. That'll do. Alright, just gonna put some of these. A few wee sprinkles of chili flakes over it while it's roasting. It's lovely. But that'll do. That'll do. No more. Too much more. I know, Mummy, I'll do this. And then I just sprinkle some oil over the top. I'm using extra virgin olive oil, but you could use rapeseed oil or olive oil or vegetable oil or a little bit of butter if you wanted. And then I just use my hands then just to mix it all up. Okay, now that that's onto the grill, we'll get on and we'll get the onions fried in the pan and the stocking. The onions and the garlic. Okay. So it's 2 onions. Right, okay. Be careful now. Okay, we'll move this away. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about butternut squash. Butternut squash is really a source of carotene. And carotene is the precursor to vitamin A. And vitamin A, whenever you eat foods containing carotene, it converts to vitamin A in the body. And vitamin A is an antioxidant. So an antioxidant meaning what? Alexander, let mommy do that, darling. That's too dangerous. Let mommy do that. An antioxidant meaning that it helps to reduce, helps to boost the immune system and helps fight off like any sort of oxidative damage in the body. So by free radicals or environmental toxins or viruses or anything like that can cause sort of damage to the body. Antioxidants can help to fight those. So any vegetables are an excellent source of antioxidants, which is why we kind of try and promote fruit and vegetables as much as possible. And really it's one of the most important things in our diet, and we generally don't eat enough of it. Vitamin A also is excellent for eye health, repair and damage of eyes, and it's the orange color of the butternut squash that gives is the carotene in it. The carotene is orange color, and that's what makes the butternut squash orange. And it's the same with carrots as well. It's the orange, sort of those yellowy, orangey, reddy colors that you get in fruit and vegetables. It's carotene that is in those. So butternut squash is also a really good source of starch. Being a root vegetable, they tend to be more starchy. So they're a good source of carbohydrate. Good boy. Oh, Alexander, be careful. Right, okay. Instead of cutting this yourself, you could put it into a food processor. Sometimes I do that just to make things a bit quicker and just blitz it in the food processor. It doesn't really matter how finely chopped onions are, as long as they're sort of in the pan, frying, sauteing in the oil. Because we're going to be blending this in a food processor later anyway. So chop them up whatever way you want. Is that going for your eyes, Alexander? Is it? These onions that I have are really wrong. They're affecting our eyes. Now, I put some oil. The recipe asked for butter, which you could use. It's fine. But because I had the oil out already, I'm just using the oil. It's okay, we're not going to bother with any butter.
Judith, I have another wee question here. Is sweet potatoes or carrots better for vitamin A?
Say that again.
Sweet potatoes or carrots, which one would be better for vitamin A? Somebody had asked.
Probably carrots. They're the best source. But sweet potato. Yes, they would be a good source of vitamin A as well, but I think carrots are the best out of all of them. But any of the orangey vegetables are also a good source of carotene. But carrots would have the highest amount.
Okay, okay.
Maybe put the blender on the line.
Not yet, darling. And then we're going to put the garlic in as well. Now I just use a grater like this. Sandy over there. Sandy over there. Do you want to stir that for me?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Hold on tight. Right, you stir that for Mama. Very good. That's it. I use a grater like this for the garlic. I just find it so much easier than a garlic crush. Garlic crushes are quite messy, I find. And I find there's less mess with this, and it's quicker as well. I don't even peel it, and I just grate it in, and what's left is the skin after. So I'll show you.
Do you put skin and all in there, Judith?
What did you say?
Did you put the skin and all in there, did you say?
No, I don't. The skin is left at the top like this, and you're holding it, and it's sort of left behind. And then underneath, if you can see, the garlic. So it's really good. And then I just throw the skin into the bin carrot. But to be honest, you could probably put the skin in because it's going to be blended anyway. So I'll not make much difference. Right, give it a good stir there. My turn. I'm going to let them soften a minute or two more. Well, that's too big, is it? Okay. And I'm just going to check the butternut squash. So hold on there, let me pull you back.
It's ready.
It's not quite ready. I'm going to put it up a wee bit actually. It's softening really nicely, so I'm just going to let it cook away.
Hi, Judith.
Butternut squash is also an excellent source of fiber as well. You over there, let me in here. And fiber is obviously very important for our gut and our gut health. And whenever you provide enough fiber for your body, and especially for your gut, well, it helps to prevent constipation, but it also helps to prevent diarrhea as well. And what the fiber does is it's almost like food for your bacteria in your gut, and it helps to promote a healthy microbiome. And microbiome meaning a healthy gut bacteria colony in your bowel. And if there's any imbalances on your gut bacteria, so if there's maybe an overgrowth of pathogenic bacteria and an undergrowth of the good bacteria, the commensal bacteria, then you can get gut problems. You know, some people get, maybe alternatives in constipation, diarrhea, bloatedness, pains in their tummy, and any sort of alterations in your gut in any way reduces your immune system and affects your immune system. also affects your mental health as well. There's a direct link between the gut and your brain, and vice versa. So there really recent studies have really shown this, the link between your gut and your brain, and the old sort of wives' tales of your gut instinct knows, or your gut knows, is maybe sort of coming to be true. And also, so yeah, if there's any sort of problems with your mental health, or your if you're anxious or worried about anything, it's going to have a direct effect on your gut, and vice versa. If there's any sort of problems with your gut, it can affect your immune system, which can have an effect on your mental health. But not only that, sort of any sort of inflammatory kind of conditions, such as arthritis, any sort of hormonal conditions, can be affected by sort of imbalances in your gut. So how do you improve that? How can you help it? You can help it by having more fiber in your diet, and a whole range of different types of fiber. So having a good amount of soluble and insoluble fiber. And you get insoluble fiber in sort of the grains, like the wheaten bread that we just did there. So that's the grains, the whole grain is your insoluble fiber. And then the likes of the fiber in the butternut squash and the onions is the soluble fiber. So it's having a really good balance of those kind of fibers in your diet, which helps promote a really good health.
Judith, I think we have a question here from Jeanette. Jeanette, do you want to go ahead?
Can you hear me? I'm talking.
Judith, we question here.
Yes.
Jeanette, can you hear her okay? Go ahead, Jeanette.
Yeah.
Hi, Judith. I was just wondering, garlic, I think, is an anti-inflammatory. What else is good for as an anti-inflammatory?
Say that again. Sorry, I can't hear because there's so much sizzling going on here. I can't hear very well.
What other vegetables or what other foods is good for as an anti-inflammatory?
So anti-inflammatory, well, any sort of fruit and vegetables are an excellent source of anti-inflammatory vitamins and minerals, like the antioxidant vitamins and minerals that I talked about, so such as vitamins A, C, and E. So any sort of vitamins or vegetables that have those. But other anti-inflammatory things would be like a probiotic. If you were to take a probiotic, that helps with the gut health, and that helps to that would work as an anti-inflammatory. Also, peppermint oil, things like that, would work as an anti-inflammatory. Really good essential fats works as an anti-inflammatory, such as the oils that you would get in fish. So fish oils, omega-3s. I'm just going to stir this. Hold on a minute. Hold on, wait, Alex. I'll get back to you in a sec. I'm just going to check if I don't want it to burn. I'll talk a bit more about that in a little second. I'm just going to put the stock in.
Folks, just while I was doing that, a wee bit of good advice here from one of our listeners was saying that if you go to Judith's video and touch the 3 wee dots and then go to pin video, it enlarges the screen. You can tell I'm still learning all about this Zoom. So maybe if you can't see Judith just fully on the screen, there's 3 dots, just if you hover sort of above, you'll see there's 3 wee dots on the right hand side. And if you go to pin video, if you click the left hand button, or maybe it's the right hand button, sorry, it's the left hand button and pin video. I should bring it up a wee bit more. She'll still not be the full size of the screen, but you'll maybe see her a wee bit better.
Okay, so I've just put the water into the pan, and I've used chicken stock. I know the recipe asks for vegetable stock. I just have run out of vegetable stock, so I'm using chicken stock, which is totally fine. I mean, it'll just be as nice. But of course, if you're a vegetarian, you would want to use vegetable stock. I'm just giving it a good stir here. Do you want to stir that for me? Yes. Hold on, let me just do this first. Now, this is
what it looks like.
that's what it looks like. Okay, move you over there. Now, I want to show you just, I don't know if you can see that. It's sort of roasting up lovely there. And I'm just going to give this a bit of a stir and put it back in again. And it's softening really well. I figure somebody here is like it's set for the stage. He likes to show off. Here you go. Is that in? Go and check. No. Right, wait, go on. Okay. Sorry, my husband's a farmer. He's just come in for his breakfast. Nice. Put a little bit more water in the pot. Yeah, so I was talking about the anti-inflammatory foods. So, yes, omega-3s coming from fish. So there's two different types of oils that you get in omega-3 fish oils. There is DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, and EPA, eicosahexaenoic acid. And both of those have been shown to have a really good anti-inflammatory effect on our body. So anybody with arthritis or any sort of inflammation in the body would benefit from taking an omega-3 fish oil. And try to have at least 500 milligrams of a joint EPA and DHA together in your supplement if you're going to have that, because sort of research has shown that you need to have that amount to have any effect. So yeah, it has a really good anti-inflammatory effect, but also any sort of foods that have essential fatty acids in them, so nuts, seeds, whole grains, anything like that. Those kind of essential oils really provide a really good anti-inflammatory effect. But trying to have a good whole food diet as well, not having too many processed foods in the diet is really the best way to eat if you can. It used to be that fat was, whenever I was training to be a dietitian, it was all about low fat this, low fat to help heart health. But actually, really that's been turned on its head now, and it's not really fat is the thing. It's having far too much sugar in our diet is the problem, and also eating too many processed foods. So manufactured processed foods and not eating enough home cooked foods has been shown to be the issue. So try to, if you can, cook more from scratch. What time are we doing, Joanne? I don't even know the time. I'm going to check the bread. Right, stand up here. Right.
Almost 20 past, Judith.
Okay. Yeah, it's coming on really well. well. It might not be finished by the time you finish this, but it might. So. Coming on really well, isn't it? You want the roasted butternut squash to have a lovely charged look to it, finish to it, and be nice and soft and roasted, because that's really what's going to provide the best flavour. A bit of heat actually. So to help, you could actually add some seeds to your wheaten bread. You could add sort of a mixture of seeds, sesame seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, maybe a good couple of tablespoons, or an ounce even, actually probably an ounce would be good, to your wheaten bread, and then that will add extra fibre. It will add those essential fatty acids to your wheaten bread as well. Or you could sprinkle them over the top while it's roasting to give a lovely seeded top to your wheaten bread. Also, I make lots of different varieties of wheaten bread, which are also delicious. So sometimes I would do like a date and walnut wheaten bread. So I'd add dates and walnuts in there. It's absolutely delicious. Gives it a sweeter, makes it sweeter. Or a white chocolate and raspberry. So it's a good alternative to maybe a cake, for example, or buns or muffins. It would be a healthier alternative. You're still getting the sweetness there from the wheaten bread, but you're also getting the goodness from the fibre as well. So those are lots of different varieties. Or you can make an apple, like last Christmas, I made an apple and toffee wheaten bread. It was lovely. Or you can make more of a savoury one. Such as this, adding the seeds to it would make it more savoury.
Folks, we don't have too much time left, so if you have any questions, please feel free to fire away or put up your hand or whatever. Lily,
yeah.
Hold on, just get you unmuted.
Hopefully we'll get this blended up before it ends.
If you go onto your screen, Lily and Tom, and just press unmute. That's you now. Go ahead, Lily or Tom.
Would it be possible for you to send through the oils, you know, the name of those oils and the amount to take with the...
Oh yes, omega-3 fats.
Yeah, could that just be...
Yeah, no problem. I can do that.
Yeah.
I can send a link through. Alexander, go on. I can send a link through to Joanne, and then she can pass it on to maybe some brands that you can buy. And to sort of guidance on what you're looking out for if you are going to buy an omega-3 fat. Yep, absolutely no problem. But also, you know, trying to have a bit more oily fish in the diet will do just as well. Trying to have it maybe a couple of times a week of oily fish. So oily fish is like salmon, pilchards, sardines, mackerel, trout. Any of those kind of oily fish is lovely. Lidl do a really fantastic fish range, and they do lovely mackerel. Actually, we had mackerel earlier this week, and it's delicious fried with a nice salad. So maybe just trying to have a little bit more in your diet. But it's also, if you do have an inflammatory sort of condition, then it is useful to take some of those omega-3 fats as a supplement. Maybe wouldn't do any harm.
Good.
Yeah, but I'll send Joanne through some information this week.
Great. I get that sent out to
Yeah.
everybody.
Is that okay, Joanne?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other questions? Just shout, just unmute yourself and chat away.
I'll just go ahead and say Joanne.
Joanne,
Yes.
can I ask where Alexander learned his knife skills? Because they're really impressive.
What's that?
Where did Alexander learn his knife skills? They're very impressive.
I know, with me, I am a bit nervous, I have to say. He's cooked with me since he was 2, literally, since he could literally stand in a chair. He has been cooking with me. And he's very independent wee boy, and you know, you couldn't tell him. So when he has a notion in his head, he's going to do it, and you just have to let him do it. So it's just big practice, and he's a left-hander as well, and I'm a right-hander. So I always have to position myself to his left to make sure that he's doing it okay. But we used to sing this wee song, "Let's Do It Together," and you know, he loves getting up and getting involved. Yeah.
Really good.
Do you hear that, Alexander? This lady was saying that you're really good at cutting the onions.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Okay, let me try. Oh, it's good. Don't shit them. Don't shit them. No shitting Mark either. Any other questions? Soups are, I just love soups, and especially this time of the year. I think soup is a great way of getting extra vegetables into your diet. Because you're cooking the vegetables in the stock and in the water. You're not losing any of the nutrition because the vegetables are being blended and cooked together. Right, come on, blended and cooked together in the stock, and it's just really warming. A really good hearty vegetable broth is just excellent food. And don't be afraid, like, you know, some people would say, oh, soups are very high in salt. Well, if you make it yourself and you're adding some stock, that's fine. But it's also important for food to have flavour because, you know, you have to enjoy what you're eating in moderation, of course. But as long as you need to add salt and flavour and maybe some herbs and spices to food to give it a lovely flavour so that you can enjoy it. But soups, I love soups at this time of the year, and they're so easy to make as well and quick. So I mean, obviously this is taking the hour, but you know, this is pretty much a whole meal made within the hour. Probably would have needed maybe an extra 10 minutes just to get the things chopped and whatever, blended. But really, I mean, it doesn't take long. And I find it really therapeutic. I find cooking actually pretty therapeutic. And my husband said, this is where my happy place is. Whenever I'm annoyed about something, I'll go and cook something. It's all forgotten about. And I always try and encourage people to cook because you really feel that you've achieved something at the end of it. I'm just going to check this. The butternut squash again. Aha! You can see this. It's lovely charred. I think this is ready to go into the stock now.
Woo! Aha!
Aha! Check it. Yep. I'm going to add this to this and let it cook through the stock for a couple of minutes just to make sure it's really soft.
can I name them? Oh, when is it over that, Mama?
Folks, maybe just while Judith is finishing off there, just maybe while you're finishing off, maybe just to encourage all of you. First of all, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. The next one is Monday, the 26th of October, and it's sausage and vegetable bake. And if you can join us again on the 26th, that would be brilliant. I'll be sending out just a different wee code for you, and if you just watch out, you'll get a wee email or a wee text just from Alan, probably with the details of the next session coming up on the 26th of October. That's next Monday, isn't it? It is next Monday at 10:30.
Yes, and try and if you can cook along with me. The next one, because it's just kind of one dish, it shouldn't take so long to prepare. It's literally I threw everything into one pan and let it cook. So you know, if you can try and cook along with me, then you can ask me questions and as we go along. But I know it's quite nice to watch somebody doing it first and then go and practice. I understand that as well.
Okay, well, I know we're just about out of time, and I know there's some of you have to leave us in and around 11:30. I don't. Maybe you need a few. Are you almost finished, Judith? Or yeah,
yes, I've just finished. It's ready. It's in the pot. Everything's in. It's just a matter of blending it now. Will I go ahead and blend it?
That's grand. Go you ahead.
That'll do.
Again, if anybody's any final questions, we'll be finishing up in the next couple of minutes. Just give a wee shout.
Joanne, are we using the same Zoom details next week as we used this morning?
No, it'll be a different code, Mervyn. I send you through, or else Alan will send you through. So it'll be a different code or just a different link. So if you just click on the link, that should take you on through. Okay. If anybody has any problems, I know Zoom takes a wee bit of getting used to, and I'm talking about myself here as well. So if you have any issues or any problems, give us a wee shout in between times. Tommy and Lily, you wanted maybe to ask something? Go ahead if you just unmute yourself there. That's you, go ahead.
Okay. Joanne, whenever there's only two, talking about fresh vegetables, when you buy a turnip and a cabbage or something like that, you know, big, if she could maybe explain what would be the best way to keep that, you know, to freeze it or something like that. Maybe you can't, I don't know. It's difficult to use that up when there's only two people.
Yeah, totally agree with you. It is. Well, root vegetables like turnip and carrots and parsnips and potatoes and all those kind of root vegetables do keep a lot longer. They are great at keeping, and they'll keep for a good while stored in a cool area. The cabbage, again, it keeps for a while too in the fridge, but the thing about the cabbage is as it starts to wither a little bit and as the outside leaves start to degenerate, it starts to lose its nutritional value, but it's still good to use, you know, obviously as long as it's not going moldy or starting to go soft, you know, and really degenerate. It's still totally fine to use. You can just take the outer leaves out that may be withered a little bit and just use it. The best way I find to use a cabbage, there's only 3 of us, there's only myself and my husband and my little boy, but the way I use a cabbage, and I love it this way, is I cut it all up, finely sliced, and I fry it in some oil with some onion and some bacon in the pan. And I find that that will do us 2 days, and that's it. You know, I'll make a great big pan of it. I'll use it for the dinner, whatever we're making that night, and then we'll have it for the next night for the dinner. And we love it, so we eat a lot of it in one go. So that serves 4 people, 1 cabbage. And I find that if you use it all at the one time, whenever you fry that in a little bit of oil, you're sort of also helping it. You're also, you know, that will keep in the fridge for 3 or 4 days, so you can use it in other dishes. It's quite nice. I know it sounds kind of strange, but I have used that as leftovers in an omelette before. And I put the fried cabbage with the onions and the bacon in with the omelette, and it's absolutely delicious. So there's different ways you can do it.
Would you steam it first?
I don't.
No.
I don't actually. I literally cut it really slicely, and I put it in the pan, and I might put a little bit of, I'll put oil and butter in there, and then I might put a tablespoon of water, and then the water creates the steam and helps to fry it and steam it at the same time, and it's totally delicious. Because you don't want to overcook vegetables. The more you overcook it, the more you lose your nutritional value. And I find, personally, that overcooked vegetables don't taste nice. They're bitter. So I always like my vegetables to have a little bit of crunch to it. And then turnip, turnip you can maybe use half the turnip maybe for a night, and then the rest you can put back in the fridge again, and you can maybe make soup with it. So you can maybe cut it up fine to make a vegetable broth, maybe to use it up. Again, vegetable broth is an excellent way to use any sort of vegetables that are in the bottom of your fridge and you think that they're maybe past their best. Just make a great big pot of soup with it. It's a great way. I'll go and blend this up, and then you'll see what it looks like blended. So bear with me just a second.
Making me hungry, all this talk about food.
We'll all be going for an early lunch, Joanne.
You're right.
After all that food, lovely wheaten bread and everything.
Cabbage and bacon sounds lovely too, fried in the pan. I fancy a bit of that now too.
It's just good even to get different ideas, you know, things that you maybe haven't cooked for a while, or just a wee variation on something you would do yourself. It's lovely to hear the different ideas.
Yeah. And funny, I have a bag of frozen butternut squash, all diced and all, and I wasn't just sure what to do with it, but I'm going to use it later on. Throw it in and have a go at this. It looks lovely.
I'm looking forward to seeing what the wheaten bread looks like.
Yeah.
Because I would make a lot of wheaten bread in this house, especially at the weekends. The boys love it.
That white chocolate and raspberry wheaten bread sounds lovely.
Aye. I would eat it all though.
Me too.
So you got a really good turnout for this first session this morning. It's brilliant.
Yeah, really, really good.
What is it, 23, 24 people?
24, I think I had 25 at one stage, yeah.
Great.
Great.
Brilliant.
But folks, even afterwards, you know, if you're going home or you're trying this out later on, or maybe you want a wee question about Zoom or something, just reach out. Sorry, Judith, go ahead.
That's okay. I'm just putting my phone in the charger here because this, hold on a wee sec. I just want to show you what it looks like then.
You've frozen on us, Judith.
That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like blended up. Can everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. There it's there. So it's a lovely rich orange color. And then you would serve that with some creme fraiche or thick and creamy yogurt or some cream or whatever. And it's really sweet, early kind of, and then chili, and it gives it a lovely sort of to it as well.
Brilliant.
I'll go and check. I had to put my phone on the charger there because it's the Zoom uses up a lot of the battery in the phone. But bear with me. I'm just going to check the wheaten bread and see how it's getting on. It might actually be ready. So hold on one sec. Okay, so there's the wheaten bread. Can everybody see that? Okay.
Oh, yeah, you can see it now. Yeah.
See it?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to skewer it actually because just to make sure it's ready. It probably needs another couple of minutes. Yeah, it needs another couple of minutes, but it's come on beautifully actually. For some reason, it's cracked really nicely at the top, so there's a nice rise with it and everything. So.
Okay, well, Judith, listen, that gives us a great idea of what the wheaten bread's going to turn out like. The soup looks absolutely amazing. I was just saying there, I'm just ready for a wee bite to eat now. It all looks absolutely beautiful. I had reminded you there of the next one, which is next Monday, and you'll get some details through. I would like to say a big thank you to Judith. That was great. I'm definitely going to have a wee go later on, and hopefully it turns out as nice as yours looks. And hopefully all of you will have a wee go later on. But I'm looking forward to next week now, the sausage and vegetable bake. So we'll maybe try and cook along next week. I'll see. So thank you very much, Judith, and thank you to all of you for joining us this morning. And just want to say another big thanks to the funders as well, Claire there at Piece 4, which is great, and to Hillstown for organising the event. So unless anybody has any other questions, then we'll finish up here, and hopefully we'll see you all, or at least hear from you all next Monday morning at 10:30. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you all.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you next week.